why was there a bear trap? Hey!
Oh, Jesus! Oh!
Holy shit.
Oh, I don't like the idea of this part at all.
What is that?
That's a dead person.
Yes. I'm sorry that I had to keep putting
Horror movies.
Yes.
What?
Hey, I'm sorry I have to keep putting you through these,
this.
Kate. I'm sorry. So,
no.
some horrifying things have happened on movie sets, and some of them are more creepy than others. Matter of fact, during the filming of the movie The Omen, several people died in very strange circumstances. And, of course, there's also several other films out there, like The Twilight Zone, which, resulted in the deaths of 3 people, which was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
It was one accident that happened, and it was horrifying. But the footage is online, by the way. Someone actually found the footage and posted it online, and it's like an internet horror story, but with like real footage.
Oh my gosh.
It's terrifying. But either way, yeah. Mr. Nightmare, once again, bringing the heat with some horrifying things that happened on horror movie sets. This is part 2, by the way. If y'all haven't seen part 1, feel free to check that out. But keeping us guard and keeping us safe from all this is the one and only Asher, who is here to be our guard dog.
He's about to get up if just pull this blanket.
Yeah. He'll get up. He'll be like, Mom, what's going on?
He'd be like,
Mama, what's
heck?
happening? But, yeah, Asher is here to guard us as best as he can.
My emotional support animal.
Yes. And he's a good emotional support animal. Ain't that right, Ashy?
Say, I'm asleep.
Yeah, he's snoozing. I could feel him snoring a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and hop into this so we don't take up too much of y'all's time. So this is Horrifying Things That Happen on Horror Movie Sets, Part 2. Here we go.
This is a part 2 to the recent video I did of the scariest things to happen on horror movie sets. One of the movies on that list was The Conjuring, and coincidentally, the first movie on this list will be Annabelle, a movie that takes place in the same universe as The Conjuring.
Fucking A.
The first spin-off film was released in 2014 and was directed by John R. Leonetti, who claims to have experienced not one, but 2 supernatural occurrences while on set. The first came when he claimed to have seen 3 fingers drawn through dust on set multiple times, which is disturbing because the demonic doll the movie is named after has 3 fingers. The second came when they shot their first scene with the demon actor in all his makeup. They were filming in an old apartment building near Koreatown, Los Angeles, when the demon actor went up the elevator and headed to where the other actors were. But as he was walking down a hallway, a giant glass light fixture fell on an actor's head who was playing a janitor. To make matters even creepier, in the script, that same hallway is where the demon kills the janitor, and the creepy on-set occurrences of the Conjuring universe don't end there. Corin Hardy, who directed The Nun, says that during production, he saw 2 men in a room he was filming in at a castle in Romania. He assumed they were just crew members. After completing the take, he turned to the men, but they were gone. To make things freakier, they would have had to pass him to leave the room. The 1982 movie The Poltergeist is a movie that is rumored to have been cursed. It's believed that this curse started after Steven Spielberg and Tobe Hooper decided to use real skeletons during a scene where Jobeth Williams' character falls into a swimming pool filled with skeletons, which unbeknownst to the cast, the skeletons were actually real, since using real ones would be cheaper than buying fake ones at the time.
They were old cadaver skeletons.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's
again,
creepy.
It is. And here's the thing about, there's a bunch of stuff that's happened surrounding the poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am just horrified by like some of the stuff that's happened. Especially, well, they'll probably talk about it, but again.
The majority of the fuel for the alleged curse stems from the deaths of multiple cast members. In total, 4 cast members died during and soon after the filming of the series. Carol Ann Freeling, the young protagonist of the trilogy, was played by Heather O'Rourke, and she was only 6 years old when the first Poltergeist film was released. Sadly, she was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease in 1987, and the following year, she got sick again and was misdiagnosed with simply having the flu. But one day later, she collapsed and suffered a cardiac arrest. She died that day during an operation to correct a bowel obstruction. Dominique Dunn, who played the original older sister Dana Freeling, met an equally tragic and unforeseen fate. In November of 1982, Dominique's ex John Sweeney, who she had recently cut ties with, showed up at her house pleading for her to take him back. When she refused, he grabbed her neck and choked her until she was unconscious, leaving her to die in her driveway. Sweeney was sentenced to a horrendously lenient 6.5 years in prison, but was released after only 3 years and 7 months. Julian Beck played the evil preacher Cain from Poltergeist 2. In 1983, Julian had been diagnosed with stomach cancer, which took his life soon after he finished work on the second installment of the series. The same film was met with further tragedy after Will Sampson, who played Taylor the Native American shaman, died after undergoing a heart-lung transplant, which had a very slim survival rate. Poltergeist remains a movie with one of the highest amount of tragedies to hit its cast members. Heather O'Rourke was believed to have haunted the set of another movie though, the 1990 film Ghost. Not as much a horror movie, just a movie about the afterlife, but some believe there may have been a real supernatural presence on set. The movie involved Paramount Studios' Stage 19, where the sitcom Happy Days was filmed, a sitcom that Heather starred in 12 episodes for. Workers from the stage have experienced inexplicable power outages and have heard laughter late at night, laughter reminiscent of Heather. One night shift security guard who worked Stage 19 told about the paranormal activities that go on at the studio. The security guard claimed that almost every night he would hear running and laughing on the catwalk above the set, which is where Heather liked to play when she was on the set for Happy Days.
Wow.
The security guard also told that sometimes workers would see the little girl playing on the stage. When asked what they do when they see her, the security guard replied that they usually just tell her to leave and she runs off. On the set of Ghost was no different, as multiple crew members have claimed to hear the young girl running around in the catwalks above the stage and laughing. The Exorcist is undeniably one of the most well-known horror movies of all time, having become a household name. But lesser known is the fact that it's also notorious for having a supposedly haunted set. One of the eeriest examples is that the set of the McNeil's house caught fire. The Exorcist was faced with multiple production delays, but the first was by far the worst. The set for Regan's family home burned down in 1972 after a bird flew into the circuit box. The only part of the set that survived was the bedroom where the exorcisms would take place, with the chances of that being very slim. This set production of the movie back significantly, and led to shooting taking over a year. After the incident, a real priest was called in to bless the set. During filming, Ellen Burstyn, who played the mother, Chris McNeil, suffered a spinal injury while being hoisted around on a harness. She claims to have been screaming to turn the cameras off and to stop pulling her, which was all dismissed or ignored. She was left on crutches for the rest of the production.
I had a rig around my midriff with a wire coming out the back, and the stuntman was pulling me too hard. I can get hurt. And Billy said, well, it has to look real. I said, I understand, but I'm telling you, I could get hurt. And the stuntman was standing there listening to this, and Billy said to him, okay, don't pull her so hard. But as I turned away, I felt them exchange a look. You see me hit, and you see me reach for my back. I screamed in horrendous pain. Billy motioned to Owen to tilt the camera down on me.
The moment she fractured her lower spine was actually the footage that's in the movie, and the screams you hear in the movie are not acting, rather actual cries of pain.
Wow.
But the crew assumed she was only acting. But the real curse of the movie would be the deaths linked to the movie. They included Jack McGowran, who played the film director Burke Dennings. Ahead of the film's release, Jack tragically died from complications related to influenza. Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Father Damien Cara's mother, also passed away that same year before The Exorcist was released, reportedly dying of natural causes. Both of their characters in the movies also died. During the production, a number of the cast and crew, including Linda Blair, who played Regan, and Max von Sydow, who played Father Merrin, also lost family members, and the son of Jason Miller, who played Father Karras, had a near-fatal motorcycle accident during filming. The 1968 film Rosemary's Baby follows a failing actor who agrees to give up his wife's womb to
I haven't
Satan so
seen
he
this
could have a
one.
taste of fame.
Huh?
I don't know about this movie.
This was directed by Roman Polanski, and it was the last. I think it was the last film. Yeah, never mind. I'll let.
It was an instant
Hopefully,
hit,
hopefully
but the
he'll
satanic
talk about
overtones of the film have led people to believe the film had been cursed, and a number of the cast and crew had suffered horrible fates because of it. To start, the composer for the soundtrack of the movie, Krzysztof Komeda, died in 1969 after falling off a rocky slope at a party. He had entered a coma for 4 months until passing away. This is very similar to the death of the character Hutch in Rosemary's Baby. But if anybody were to have been hit the hardest by the alleged curse, it would have to be the film's director, Roman Polanski. Initially, he wanted to include his wife Sharon Tate in the film as Rosemary, but was overruled by the producer Robert Evans, who fought to cast Mia Farrow. Sharon was instead cast as an unnamed background character in a single party scene. A year after the film was released, Sharon and some of her friends were staying in a rented house in Los Angeles when Tex Watson and some girls from the Manson family broke in. The Manson family was a gang or a cult led by Charles Manson that was active in California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Tex Watson and the girls killed Sharon and all of her friends, inflicting more than 100 piercing wounds total among the 4 victims. Sharon Tate was 8 months pregnant when it happened. The alleged curse of the movie doesn't stop there, though. The Dakota is a famous building in New York, which
Yeah.
served as the exterior for the apartments in Rosemary's Baby. But little did a lot of people know that it was the site of John Lennon's murder.
Death, yeah.
The Dakota's Gothic style was a perfect choice for the movie, as it's exactly what you'd expect the home of witches to look like. The producer Robert Evans claimed that the whole time he felt uncomfortable in and near the building while on set. After the film was released, one of the producers, William Castle, was hit with kidney stones, and he claimed that during surgery, he began to hallucinate scenes from the film and even shouted, "Rosemary, for God's sake, drop that knife." He later admitted in his autobiography that he was overall very frightened of Rosemary's Baby.
That's crazy.
Damn. Again, just like Rosemary's Baby, I remember just like the whole thing with Sharon Tate. You know, that whole scenario that happened again. That just, damn. Still to this day messes with me. You know,
I can't believe they murdered her and she was pregnant. Like,
well, yeah.
that's just
Again, it's because Charles Manson had this sick, warped mentality about, you know, he saw people who lived in Hollywood and, you know, people who, like, lived in that lifestyle as pigs. And he basically saw them just like, you know, pigs need slaughtering. And he sent them up there to do that. And that's what they did the whole time. They called them, just horrible, horrible treatment. Because there's been, like, no one knows 100% what happened in the house, but according to the testimony of, like, the girls and Tex, like, they made them, like, they tortured them for a long time before they killed them. And
I
again,
cannot imagine.
I can't either. And in all honesty, you know, here's the thing. Roman Polanski has my sympathy for what happened with that, but Roman Polanski also has to answer for crimes that he himself has committed. Roman Polanski, when he it was about 10 years after Sharon's unfortunate passing, he and instead of, and here's the thing, he then was indicted on these charges and said, "Oh, I plan to, you know, I don't plan to, you know, do anything. I just want to, you know, get this over with." And, you know, and the very moment that he had a chance, he fled the country. And he was in France for the longest time. And then eventually he did get indicted years and years and years later.
Wow.
But again, you know, the man has my sympathies for what happened to Sharon, but at the same time,
That doesn't give
that
you
doesn't
the excuse to go and do that shit.
No, it doesn't. It's fucked up. And he deserves.
What in the hell?
What is wrong? I mean, I ask myself the question: what's wrong with people? Quite a bit. I mean, again, life is just fucked up sometimes. But either way,
that's not an excuse for that kind of behavior.
It isn't.
That's
By no means.
Wrong.
By no means isn't an excuse. Anyway, so yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, everybody. This was Horrifying Things That Happen on Horror Movie Sets, Part 2. If you all enjoyed and you want to see more, feel free to check out Mr. Nightmare. And until next time, I'm Nate.
I'm Kate.
See you later. Oh, and also, Sleepy
Asher's
Boy is
here.
Asher. He's snoring. We'll see you later, everybody. Peace.
See ya.